Living from our heart, living from our core, living from our power, we all get more. We are powerful.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Transformation Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I am one of the co-founders of Powerful You Publishing. And I am so grateful to be hosting this summit for you and being able to introduce you to these amazing authors who are the co-authors in the upcoming book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women, where they share their own stories, their personal stories of transformation in their own lives, so that when you read them, you will be inspired and encouraged and empowered to have more ease and grace on your own transformational journey, which, hey, we're all going through it, right? Every moment is a journey of our life, and transformation is with us always. So I would love to welcome today Andrea Firpo, who is our guest, and I'm so excited to talk to her because her energy is so cool, and you'll get it. It's infectious. And I'm going to read a brief introduction of Andrea, and then we'll get started speaking with her. Andrea Firpo is a psychic cheerleader focused on transformational healing by building awareness in the body and mind around the deep conditioning of emotional trauma. Andrea has a background in psychology, feng shui, plant medicine, Reiki, shamanism, and psychic energetic healing. She uses these to identify underlying patterns that undermine her clients' self-worth. The simple yet powerful energetic tools she teaches helps them identify blocks, expand their intuition, heal, and make incredible paradigm shifts in their lives. Andrea's podcast, Brilliance Through Resilience, highlights incredible women and their gifts and stories. She lives with her family in Portland, Oregon, and works with clients everywhere. And Andrea, I am so happy to welcome you today. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be talking with you. I know you have that big, beautiful smile, which I am so grateful for because it just lifts me up. So thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome.
Awesome. And I love your title for your interview. It says, "You can do hard things. The fear is worse than the outcome." And boy, have I experienced that. That's for sure. And I, try to keep myself out of that fear and into that, that beautiful visionary space so that the outcome can be exactly what I'm envisioning. But there are some hard things along the way. And I know our listeners have experienced them as well. And perhaps this year, maybe more than ever, some people. So it's kind of interesting these times we're living in. So this is a perfect message for our audience. And so, Andrea, I usually start off with a question that says, oh, tell me about your personal journey and what led you to where you are today. But I think I would love for you to share with our audience perhaps something that is unusual or unique and that a lot of people don't know these things about you, except those that are maybe closest to you. So what would that be?
So most people aren't aware of how afraid I came into the world. I was painfully shy as a child, and I've spent my entire life overcoming that adversity. That's also what I teach my clients, right? So I was born, for any astrologers out there, I was born as all water signs. So I'm incredibly observant and super open. And I didn't know how to shield or protect myself from my environment. And because my Chiron was in Aries, my gift or my lesson in this lifetime was really learning how to speak up for myself. So my environment was incredibly chaotic. And I had a near-death experience at 18 months old. And I truly, deeply believe that most people that have a near-death experience are really at a soul level in a crisis stage where they get here and they're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. So at 18 months old, I stopped breathing in the car, being the youngest case my pediatrician had ever seen of asthma. And one of my earliest memories is me being strapped to a hospital bed with lights in my eyes. So I overcame this incredible amount of shyness. When people meet me now, they can't believe it because they feel like I'm such an extrovert. And even in my title as a psychic cheerleader, there's a lot of history with that. My mom put me on stage to overcome how shy I was. But After that experience, I really, really, truly was afraid of people. I was afraid
Wow.
of being here. And if people would talk to me that I didn't know, it would make me cry. So my parents were quite overwhelmed with me, if you can imagine. And my mom made it her mission to have me overcome that. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're right. I would never have assumed that you were shy at any point in your life. So that's
Yes.
kind of amazing. Wow, that's terrific. And then you had something in 2012, you were diagnosed with Graves' disease. Now, how did that experience affect your life?
Well, throughout my life, I definitely had challenging times. And I definitely have a background that most people are quite surprised. And I reveal a lot of that on my website and my story. But ultimately, in 2012, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, and it was a personal crisis. I was living a life that was completely not aligned. I was living a life that was completely opposite to how I live now. And I was really tested to speak up for myself. The disease itself went undiagnosed because everybody that I turned to couldn't see the reactions, the physical reactions that I was having. They couldn't see that my eye was misshapen, so I thought I was crazy. And it wasn't really truly until my mom saw it that I was able to realize, okay, I need to do something about this. So through that process, I almost lost my eyesight. I almost lost my thyroid. And I was in, you could say, a moment of complete openness and willingness to change anything that I needed to do necessary in order to heal myself, because I was too young, in my opinion, to just give up and say, all right, just medicate me for the rest of my life. I really truly wanted to get to the root of the problem, and I continued to search out people who could help me better understand the things that I had no awareness around, or that I needed to continue in order to advance at a soul level.
Wow. Yeah, I understand that. I had my own healing crisis actually back in, around 2010, and it was profound. And when you experience something like that and you decide it can be a different way, and you don't have to listen to all the doctors and people that think they know exactly what it is, and you explore that for yourself, it's very amazing, and it really does change your life and your perspective and your outlook and how you interact with people. So, and I know that helped you to get to where you are today for sure in doing the work that you're doing. Speaking of that, do you believe energetically and in this lifetime that we are all here, we come here with a mission and a purpose?
Absolutely, 100%. We come here to evolve into Christ consciousness. We come here to overcome seven areas of transformation, which are addiction, they are shame, they are prejudice, they are hatred, violence, victimhood, and that keeps us all separate from each other. We come here to evolve. I don't think I named all seven. I was trying to think of them all. We come here to evolve. We also come here to learn certain virtues. And so the challenges that we have throughout our life really inform us of certain virtues that we already agreed to at a soul level. So for instance, we wanted to come here to learn humility and patience and kindness and love towards everybody. We came here to experience a physical life, but at a soul level, we aren't separate from each other. We just have individuality in this body, right? So as we step into this world, we have no memory of what we agreed to at a soul level. And part of what an awakening experience is remembering that. So, as throughout life, you get these challenges and it kind of awakens you, right? You could say my 2012 experience was an awakening moment. I had multiple ones, but that was a huge moment, right? Because I wasn't listening. I literally was going in the opposite direction of what I was supposed to be doing while I was here. And I was miserable, right? So we all come here with a purpose to really step out of our limitations of this third dimension. So, you know, I was born into a family and I experienced physical, emotional, sexual abuse throughout the history of growing up into my young adulthood. And that was a story of who I am. I'm not trying to get rid of that story necessarily, but I need to recognize that that's things that prepared me to be who I am now, and that those challenges gave me and brought me the gifts that truly now I can give out to others, right? And teach others. And so that's also what I teach people when I work with them individually. We're so covered in energy, and there's energy all around us all the time, and a lot of it isn't ours. And learning back, you know, removing blocks, removing things that are in your way on an energetic basis, as well as on a mental level, right? Through education. And psychological, you know, background, getting into your history, as you start to have more awareness and understanding around this, you start to break down your story, right? You start to break down the things that have happened to you, and almost like unzipping a suit that you've been wearing, you can step out of it and now truly be the deepest, most beautiful part of you as a soul in your expression in the world. So I do believe we all have a purpose. Absolutely.
Wow.
We
Beautiful.
all awaken to it? No. Some of us don't choose to, and we have free will, but we all have a purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. And so, you know, you talked about, you know, all these experiences we have throughout our life, and you mentioned some of yours. Now, all of that, doesn't it get stored in our subconscious anyway? So even though, you know, we feel like, oh, maybe I got past that, maybe I healed that at one point, it's still there, right? So is it important that we let that go completely, or do we have to shift it? Do we have to transform it, transmute it? How does that work?
Yeah, so great question. You know, ultimately, the best way to describe it is it's almost like a scar. You're not disowning it, and you're not pretending that it isn't part of you. It's something that happened to you, but it isn't you, right? So I have a scar on my hand, you know, it's part of me, but it isn't who I am. I don't identify with my scar. So learning how to separate that over time through healing yourself. And, you know, we have multiple ways of healing. A lot of times the reason why we're still blocked or stuck is because we haven't integrated the lesson through all of our different fields, our auric fields. We have an auric field around us. And if it gets stuck in the physical part, in the mental part, in the emotional part, of the spiritual part, if we haven't learned the full lesson of it, it isn't going to pass through us. And eventually, when you have the memory, right? If I have certain memories of events that have happened, I'm more at peace. I have more love and compassion for the person that I was at that time. I have love and compassion for the people that I experienced it with, but I'm not still holding on to all of the negative lower vibrational energy that is associated with those particular events. And that's what I think is truly healing, right? Is learning how to love yourself despite the fact that things have happened, and learning how to love the people around you and recognize whatever the lesson was within that particular experience.
Great. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So let's talk about something that was in your title. We said you can do hard things. The fear is worse than the outcome. So you've worked with lots of clients. What types of fears do most clients face? There's probably some kind of like common thing that a lot of people face. And how do you help them overcome these fears?
I would say that most people, when we touched on this previously, most people, primarily the people that I work with, have a fear of going back in time. A lot of people are afraid to go to the past. A lot of people, in order to function, if they have a huge amount of trauma, which is what I specialize in, they don't want to relive it.
Sure.
And so in order for them to function on a daily lesson, they've completely almost disowned it, or learned not to feel about it, or shut the door on it and don't look at it. But going back in and opening the door and looking at all of that in the closet, the stuff that you haven't dealt with, is intimidating. So I would say that the number one fear for most people that I work with is having to go into the past. And I probably don't help with that in the sense that I call it an advanced intensive. People are like, intensive? How intense is it? You know, I think that most people recognize once we're going through the material that, and I explain this to them, that it's the deepest way of going back and being able to really love those parts that you've experienced, right? To truly be seen and heard for the very first time, and to witness yourself and what happened and when you were a small child and you were not in power, right? And so going back there with somebody who's willing to just be a really safe vessel for your experience and a really neutral environment that's full of love and protection allows people to have their experience and witness that, and I gently guide them through it so we're able to finally heal it, as opposed to pretending, you know, it would be called trauma splitting, or, you know, a trauma reaction, and pretending that that doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, wow, great. So, you know, Andrea, you're obviously very passionate about helping people to heal. And I know you also teach people how to heal emotionally, physically, spiritually. So tell me about that. Why are you so passionate about this? What is that born of?
Well, you know, as I mentioned, we have this auric field around us, and we have several layers to that auric field. So think of yourself as like a kitchen sponge that you'd wash your dishes with. And if you never put soap in it and you wash like a lasagna pan, it's gonna be pretty grimy by the time you're done with it, right? So if you can think of the world around you, everything around me right now has energy. Everything. The chair I sit on, unless I clear it, has everybody's energy that made it, that sat in it previous to me, right? Then you could say, oh, that's fine. We all deal with that. But a lot of times the things that we're feeling aren't even ours. You know, if you come in and you're upset with me, Sue, and you download a bunch of energy onto me, and then you walk away and you're like, huh, I feel better. I just offloaded a bunch of stuff. You know, it's like I'm holding it. And then I'm like, why am I so morose right now, right? We transfer even in a hug. I transfer energy in intentions. Driving down the street, if someone cuts me off, right? If I do something to them or yell something at them, that's called throwing energy. So we're combated with energy all the time, and it's not always good for us. And that's why a lot of times we don't even know what we want or feel or any of that, is because we have so many else's other opinions. We have patterns of belief that we've been practicing our entire life, right? That we think are true about us, that we've been told over and over again that must be true, you know? So we've accepted all of this, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good for us. And we live in a very toxic environment right now. I can speak, I'm in Oregon, but you know, we live in a very toxic environment, both on an energetic level and on an environmental level, right? So you don't have to see it. Maybe you're not in Oregon and the skies aren't full of smoke, but on an energetic level, you're still experiencing it on your daily life, no matter where you live in this world. Because of everything we're experiencing through COVID, because we're experiencing such a humanity crisis right now, you could say it's, you know, an emergency. It's a call to action. And we all have a choice, right, on whether or not we're going to continue to evolve. We have free will, and we get to choose whether or not we do. But part of our evolution process right now is to choose the kind of human we're going to be in this world. Are we going to be full of love, kindness, and compassion? Or are we going to truly get sucked away in the ego and the fear, right, and the illusion? So we, you know, I'm very passionate because I feel like the more of us that could learn just even the basic technique of learning how to clear your energy. I have people practice it for 7 days, and there's multitudes of ways to do it. You can do it by saging yourself or Palo Santo, but you can also do it energetically. And a lot of people don't even know to ask to do it or how to do it, right? So educating people, if I could educate everybody on just clearing their energy on a daily basis, it would be a totally different world, right? Our interaction. And the reason why my energy is so high, despite everything that's going around me, is because I work so hard on myself and my energy all day long. Not like it's a terrible job, it's a wonderful job, but that's why I feel the way that I do. And that's part of my evolution too, right? I explained all of the things, some of the things that happened to me throughout my life. My evolution was to learn how to protect myself from what was going on outside of me. Mm-hmm. And to have awareness and be able to soothe or be able to pull some kind of tool that helps me in that moment so that I can continue to be in alignment with my soul's purpose and my gifts. Am I Buddha? No. Am I always 100%? Absolutely not. But most of the time, that's what I'm working towards.
Beautiful. I love it. So for our listeners, what is one very quick cleansing tool or healing tool that they can use right now today?
If they have Palo Santo, sage, or something that they can use to smudge, and if you're not familiar with what that is, just doing a quick Google search for that and looking up a video on YouTube. There's plenty of them to find out how to do it, but you use it like an eraser on your body. Just remember you have like a cocoon around you, and you're just kind of wiping around yourself like an eraser. Same thing with a celestite. A piece of celestite, if you're into stones, that will also do the same thing. So anything like using it like an eraser, but you can also learn how to do it energetically if you go to my website at psychiccheerleader.com. I have an intuitive meditation that leads you through, it's free. It's how to clear your energy energetically. So using clairvoyant tools and envisioning it happening, and I walk you through a meditation in order to ground you, calling your energy, and then also protect your energetic space on a daily basis.
Beautiful.
And everyone that uses it is like, this is night and day. And I'm like, I know, it's good. So yeah, awesome. I highly recommend, that you clear your energy.
Wonderful. And so that's psychiccheerleader.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Great. I'm going to do that. I can use some of that clearing right now today. So
good.
Thank you so much.
I would love for you to try it.
I will. And I'll put a review out there. Absolutely. Because I can use that experience today. Absolutely. So thank you so much. Andrea, I appreciate you so much being a part of this project. I love your energy. It is contagious, which I appreciate that contagion. And I am so grateful to you for sharing your story. I know that whoever reads your story will love reading that. Also your story on your website, the story in the book as well. And so thank you for being a part of this, a beautiful part of this whole project.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And listeners, thank you. Thank you for being here, because you being here shares in this whole energy. And I know that you're going to take this out into the world and raise the vibration of everyone that you meet. So thank you so much for doing that. Be sure to buy this book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women, on launch day, which is October 20th. You can go to our website, which is transformation-book.com. It will guide you to Amazon, where you can go buy the book, come back with your Amazon receipt number, and you will be able to receive at least 35, we're working on more, 35 free gifts for you from our authors and partners. And they're amazing gifts that you will love to have. So you get the book, plus you get all the gifts, plus you get all this contact with these amazing individuals who are here for you to help ease your journey of life. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and continue to listen to the summit. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye for now.